W7M roster heading into the second map, so we'll see if they still have that fight left in the Morph. M80 are primed to take over now with a quick number map 2, as we do have it being their pick as well. Ying is the first band to go out. Choice from W7M. They're just not wanting to duke out against it, making perfect sense here. Very popular for basement executes and second floor play, so she can oftentimes be an annoyance and one that you just not want to deal with. Flores, very similarly, has access to the interior sites, basement, as well as the kids' bedroom, pretty much all of the important spots on this map, and can knock out those key pieces of utility. And maybe starting out on the attack, of course, but when they get themselves over to that defensive side, they do not want to deal with that interruption, so they'll get rid of it. Now Azami will get banned out as her capability to block out access points gets incredibly powerful, even more so to some extent than Border on this map, so she'll be removed. And then finally, this time we'll kind of flip things around a little bit. Solus is going to be left in. Valkyrie knocked out this time.
Well, and that means we're going to have quite the exciting Oregon on our hands, especially because no Azami, no Valkyrie, but Solus in. The offensive perspective now gets a little murky when it comes to trying to work onto the site. All those drones rotating in more than likely mean a lot of dead intel going the way of the offensive perspective. So M80 now going to be into the map for the very first time. DS will be flashing Blackbeard. You know we have to mention it, but we're not going to touch it until we actually get into the round, because we highly doubt he sticks it. As for M80, this is a map that you and I originally casted them on, and one thing that we notated about their playstyle on Oregon especially was their willingness to sit on angles and hold rotations. A big player being DS, actually, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kept the Blackbeard to play the bus position that we saw for White the last time.
It's actually, no, just as I bring it up, man, every time we start to talk about it, as these things just go by the wayside, as we are going to get that repick instead, I'll go over towards the much more expected Lion for this one. It's no Blackbeard play yet. It's been flashed twice, though, so maybe third time's the charm if we get a bit deeper into the series as well. Yaga as well adding the Thatcher into this one just to make things a little bit easier to clear out some of these utility set pieces, prevent them from popping out into the open against them. We'll see if that all ends up being true. Mainly going to be used to counter out some of these mute jammers and give the team the access they need to deploy down into the basement, of course. But spawns are in, and then, of course, we have the extension deployed by W7M as well. Quite a bit of second floor presence currently sitting in the way of M80s. They will have to deal with this first before moving forward. Not a huge amount of utility supporting this from what I can see, so these will probably be pretty loose positions that W7M, I imagine, are going to give up relatively quickly, but let's actually take a look and find out for ourselves as M80 is beginning that push now.
Dead silent for the first 45. Do have a roam game here from W7M. Hasn't been discovered yet, though. Forwarding back and forth. Yaga, obviously, and Inkling did hear those shots up top, so unless there's at least one body. Herd's able to, obviously, mess about with this drone game. Trying to hunt that down. Able to pick up that. He's using the suppressor on the P90 as well. Haven't been seeing that one too much on that weapon. Gomez almost with a nice shot there, but a little unfortunate. Might actually know that he's working his way down Freezer now because of that. He's a player known inside of Z. And so far, so good for W7M. M80 have gotten some map position, but this is looking like something past that W7M could have potentially dealt with, but Gomez on top of it, and you see why. The drone was right there on stage. They pinged him out.
Gomez a little
very well fought from them.
As he pops right out into Herd's face to be able to eliminate him. The rest of W7M, no, looks like they haven't made a safe return back into the depths of the basement here, waiting for the M80 execute to come through now and beginning to pop off a few of those delay pieces too. We do the smoke, so Volps can keep those toxic babes primed and in his pocket, ready to use out against the play, but at the same time, M80 seems to be making a lot of progress very quickly here, so W7M want to be more than ready for the challenge to be thrown at them. Nitro is out, unfortunately, way too telegraphed. M80 reads that from a mile away, so they will back up the stairs here. Just a momentary interruption to their clear. It has put them off the scent of actually swinging down this back stairwell, however. So it has delayed things even further than that, as it looks like M80 try to split themselves up, try to go for a 2-3 push into both the back stairs as well as pushing into construction here. But they haven't even begun to work construction yet, only just now popping open the barricade. So this is going to take some time to set up. Thankfully, Spirits is having success in the back stairs push, so that will prompt hopefully a little bit more momentum to come through on the construction play too. Julio, of course, getting in the way of that. An ace Nitro, but he's also sniped out just before he goes down to it. Kino, regardlessly, though, ends up knocking out Gomez due to the explosion of the Goyo canisters close here. Volps trying to hold his own. Kept himself alive somehow through that and got the down off onto Diaz. What a roll of the dice that comes out impressively for him. W7M able to hold on off the backs of that one and claim round number 1.
Some Volps magic in elbow. Fully stunned, still downs a man at range, John, with the shotgun. I've said it before in this tournament, but I'll say it again. Pojo Man once said the M590 runs on dreams, runs on hope. You see exactly why. Sometimes you don't even have to see, and it'll still kill somebody. Even that other shot that came in via boiler was one that almost felt like it was just out of reach for the shotty. Still able to down him all the way on that door. The pellets matching up perfectly. All that trust in the shotty ends up going the way of W7M for the round because of it. M80 now, though, looking to recoil, and how will they do so? They were flashing the glass a bit there for just a moment. That's a ban that we saw them take on Border, but not going to end up working it in. The zero, the big piece to this that we haven't been seen too often.
All of the fun operators unfortunately getting repicked out on this round. We are going to be left with a zero, which will be fun to see how he gets used. Not the most common pick for this map specifically, but I can see exactly where he is potentially going to work into M80's lineup. So let's take a closer look at that now as they begin to work their way forward. Plenty of spots for these Argus cameras to be snuck in, either from down below or potentially as they take that initial control towards the master bedroom. So we'll see how exactly he's going to try to deploy all 4 of those once the team works their way in. A bit of resistance, of course, waiting over by small tower, as one would generally expect. It's the smoke, too. All right, excuse me, never mind, reading that wrong, just a little far away from me. It's the alibi. As Volps does get some intel onto the player outside, I believe, as he pre-fires into one of those clones through the window. It's not actionable, though. Volps does not have, oh, now he does, the angle to take down his opponent, but his opponent, Yaga, in this case, also with the read against Volps. Both of them, both go down low. It's going to leave them both at around 50 HP, where they just kind of respectfully back away from each other now and move on into the next phase of the round.
It's been a very controlled round so far from M80. When the breaching charges will deal a little damage to Spirits, a lot of damage going on to Gomez, though. Looks like we had some potential impacts fly out of that window, I do believe. Maybe a nitro cell. Either way, he is going to be able to maintain his life, but definitely injured here. And at 45 now remain for M80, but doing a pretty solid job of working this out, trying to break up all of these from Classroom is Volps, and he's going to get away with it. M80 have not been able to work their way into the actual master closet. It's been so well struck from W7M.
JV now making a return to the upstairs portion of the map. Tucks himself away in the corner next to big window. M80 still with plenty of time to wait this out a little bit further too, and they're unfortunately going to need it. So once more, still working on popping
unlucky.
open. Yeah, I think he's forced to unpeak. There is some shots came back against him, so has to try and pop it again. It's going to be very awkward here as he tries to sneak off these few extra X-Kairos just to give them the appropriate room needed to hop through the breach that had already been created. The job is done now. Kino also scoring a kill, but at the cost of one of his own players, as they trade blows down to a 4v4 here. Just under now, a minute to play out. Nade chucked in, KZ safe from that though. As he backs away from it, goes for a re-peek, spots the push coming in for the Habana, but can't align himself against it. Yaga able to push forward, but he can only claim one also. As JV92 comes forward yet again with the trade here. Spirits still trying to look for a winning angle from the back of Attic's side, but just can't stabilize it, and Diaz's own push in through that breach fails pretty quickly as well. Convincing round 2, yet again, we have W7M on the warpath here from the defensive side.
Yeah, their fortifications are stalwart. Every single angle M80 adopts, shut down. Even if they do get a kill, W7M able to pull it back along the lines very quickly. We'll see if they can continue on that. Love the positionings that they were playing throughout the map, especially what we saw inside the Classroom. You know, that's an oldie but a goodie, something that you have to respect on the offensive side. And honestly, it's been so played out in much later years, or rather early years, right? That a lot of teams just stopped abusing that altogether because people were so used to players playing around that area. So smart of W7M to use that. Force M80 to clear it out, because that's really what a play like that is. It's just forcing the other team to respect what you're doing. And if they don't, then they might end up losing the round because of it. Ended up delaying out things, at least for the wall breach, for quite some time, didn't it, John?
Certainly did, and unfortunately made the push just way too untenable by the time M80 had the clearance they needed to go forward. Really just 2 players left alive in that phase of the round with no real capability to extend it further than that. So they're going to try and solve this problem a bit directly this time by bringing not only the Montaigne in, but the Osa as well. So we'll see what the double shield composition potentially can bring out here for M80. Obviously, only one of them going to be limited because of the shield. Diaz can still play very much so like a normal operator, except when he's bringing out that utility, but we'll have some limitations for the team when they are trying to make those plays together. So let's see if this type of lineup can work. You're potentially going to have 2 out of 5 of your roster otherwise distracted in the midst of the execute, only leaving 3, well, gunners, so to speak, in the fight. Now only 2, as Gomez, the first to fall here at the hands of JV92 yet again.
Loading mag!
Punishing plays so far from W7M. M80, not a single leg to stand on. Gonna be able to at least get the shield play in here. They've got DS on the Osa as well as Spirits manning the door for Monty. The case in possession of Kino. No breach yet towards the physical site, so no real means to get in and try and get this case down either. Utility game looking very solid for W7M. The scariest thing, Volps right now, 3 smokes. 2 of those nitro cells that can end up throwing a spanner into the works, especially for a plant that involves Spirits. A lot of processing still left to do for M80. Seriously need a kill to try and get this to go off without a hitch. But you can see W7M constantly applying pressure, especially from the side here. JB92 rather, even throwing some feints over towards the front door.
Attempt to whack the player as he thought was going to swing there. Spirits forced back because of that. Also gets rid of the mirror barricade too. It's the intended goal, that one. As he swings around it though, tries to take the fight, but no, Nitro so quickly dashes those plans. Hurt. It's actually get away with one here on the swing, even though obviously he's aiming at Spirits, who is able to assist in putting some damage back onto Hertz there before he could get away with the second pickup. Thankfully, it's more of his teammates still able to find that one, so we're down to Spirits and Yaga now. Up against 3 still up from the W7M roster. This is enough confidence now where JV92 can kind of wrap away from his white position. Start to look towards the top downs. Volps, though, with a bit of a dirty one. As he tries to go out for a little bit more intel, loses a good 2/3 of his HP. Julio, though, to quickly assist in stabilizing the situation, leaving a very lonely Montaigne on the field, who will also get dealt with in very quick fashion. The 3-0 run, as the defensive side is aces for both teams right now here. No problem picking up rounds from that side, but it's when we switch sides that the problems will start to arise with either team's attack. M80 needs the timeout on this round, given it's a 3-0 run now. So let's take a moment and listen in.
They're roaming, go to the master door. Let's clear master, okay?
Yeah.
Let's be on top. Bro, it's fine. It's the Oregon attack. Let's do these 3 rounds and win this fucking game, okay? Yeah, it's fine, bro. Don't stall, don't stall. Hit the comms a little bit, bro. You guys are too slow. Hit up a little bit, bro. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Bro.
Bro, we gotta do that top take if they go down again. We need 2 rounds, bro. That's it.
Bro, one more round per month. And I think you're winning the... You know what to do is round, okay?
Yep, let's go, boys.
Gomez. One kid's enter the small tower on the top, you know? Let's work there.
And so we'll come out of that pause back into round number 4 here, where W7M look to continue their success so far on this defensive side. M80 has not had the best record here of breaching past the setup to get themselves into these sites. Thankfully, they've seen the full breadth of the setups now from W7M. They've made the full rotation all the way around. For either being successes as well, there is a very obvious path to success for M80 to win these out on the retry. Let's see if they can gain it. So far, keeping the Montaigne in check to start out this rerun as they go back down into the basement. Did not have him for the play on the last occurrence. So we'll see if the extra support on the push is going to be enough. More than anything to kind of stabilize the chaos once things start out here. W7M had absolutely zero fear with their capability to swing out and try to take challenges against M80 when they were pushing into the basement the last time. Having the Montaigne will hopefully force a little bit more respect out from W7M. But conversely, we had him on the last round and it didn't really seem to slow things down. But keep in mind that W7M were playing into a site where they had more capability to play things out, just positionally speaking as well. Not going to have that in like a 30-second situation here where they're all cramped in the basement.
Yeah, it could definitely be a problem. Looked like W7M was pretty solid in dealing with Monty, giving him the proper respect, playing around him, picking off the players, trying to support him instead. Don't want to try and deal with Monty head on, unless you do get that Very solid, disjointed one-on-one. You got the proper utility in order to do it. For W7M, they're going to start things off strong on the mid-floor. Show a little face. KZ's going to back off after he gets rid of the Gemini clone. M80 beginning their clear on the small side of things, but to be expected, they have the Hibana in as well to try and deal with these hatches. Diaz more than likely will try and strike true when it comes to the Twitch drones, unlike that Nitro cell, which doesn't even go off, shot cleanly out of the air by an M80 member.
Volp's patiently waiting with the shotgun in hand here. If he gets that challenge, I think he's on freezer stairs at the moment, so see if he gets it from the other end. KZ actually double stacking this right now. 2 players primed and freezer, ready to take down anyone peeking except him, as he's got a big shield, so not going to make that one work there. Losing the hatch as well, so they don't want to leave both these players off on an island, rotationally speaking. So they peel them back, put them in a closer position to the site. Spirit's very happy he's brought the Monte now, spotting that mirror window at the bottom of the stairs, as thankfully he can walk right up to that one and have very few consequences to that walk up. It's all on M80 now, setting themselves up on a secondary angle to make this push work, as that Montaigne should be able to counter the freezer play, currently positioned from JV92.
It's going to be hard fought for him here, though. Trying to make sure he can't get away with too much. If he goes for that swing on the mirror window, probably going to try and swing in via the freezer door. It's going to be a regular drone in here, not a Twitch drone, so won't be able to shock that out. No Twitch drones actually in DS's pocket, so don't know if those were destroyed or what have you, but unfortunate circumstance if that is what is currently befuddling them.
Spirit's trying so hard to control the hipfire spray on the pistol right there. You can see him with the dot trying to aim it in, just go one shot at a time, let the full recoil reset come in. It just does not pan out for him. JV92, a big push as well. Stops the initial play on the inside of Laundry for being successful. The Montaigne heavily injured after he tries to swing forward from his freezer position. M80 just can't find a winner, but there we go. Yaga finally changed up the fate, establishing forward momentum for the team. Diaz now lost though, and it's just going to be a sea of orange in the kill feed. W7M cannot be interrupted, it seems, as they are 2 for 2 on basement holds and 4 for 4 on basement play overall here.
That Laundry attack, at least from that perspective, right, trying to come in via freezer as well as main stairs into Laundry, is so difficult to try and get to go off, John. But the biggest issue even past that is that they had literally no teeth in that setup. Not a single person could bite down and get a kill. Only thing going the way of M80 there is the kill that Yaga got. And that was simply just a coin fight gun flip that W7M had decided to take, and he won it. So for M80, really no other play in the cards for them there. No, other additive towards like the back end, towards big tower or construction. Need an extra layer to try and get some kills, get some pressure on the back end players of W7M. They've looked so solid so long, or for so far rather, here on Oregon. And I mean, why not? Usually Brazil very solid when it comes to this map, and W7M obviously not a slouch.
Big question for W7M, of course, is can they keep this pace? We obviously saw them struggling just as much as M80 was. On the attacking side, back on map number 1, will the same exact thing transpire here, or does M80 have a real matchup being thrown their way here in the fact that just W7M are ready for the outright shutdown on Oregon? Obviously, M80 just barely able to steal away W7M's own map pick on our first play. It'd be a real shame if we see that map go to the full distance to decide it. And then all of a sudden, W7M able to just slap M80 into their place on their own map pick with a potential 6-0 half, or even worse, a 7-0 game if the worst should happen. But hard to see trades to start out the 5th round here. Blows go both ways to the loss of JV92. An unfamiliar situation for him, as you'll notice, that was his very first death of the game. He has been 6-0 aside from that, most of those being opening kills, so massive impact has been shown from him on the previous 4 rounds. That's going to be sorely missed this time.
Well, breaching charges down for Spirits. He will now open the floodgates into Attic. As for the rest of M80, they're trying to build things up over on the far side and influence the position of Herds. One that we've seen a couple of teams really enjoy playing this breach open with the shotgun play. Seen a lot of solid positioning from Kino and positions along those lines as well. This time not going to be exactly what W7M wants though, and they're going to reinforce that and apply a late mirror window towards Attic. Starting to feel how M80's setup is going. Always love the late additions. This is something that we saw for a very long time inside the utility meta. They had Goyo shields and everything in between. Everybody would always rotate those Goyo shields, wouldn't they, John? Make sure they're on the proper side of the site setup. That way the offense has to deal with the full front of your defensive setup.
We're good. Argus in place.
Kino trying to rotate over. Heard Sam in the background there. Spirits trying to establish some camera positions, but afterwards is immediately decked by Volps. Not the play they wanted to have pan out here. As now they've lost their edge yet again. Volps about to lose his position in a second, though, if he's not cautious. Paying close attention to those ex-Kairos to see if a push will come through. Just a flash right now. Try and position a few more of those on the window. Only the 2 going down previously. Going to need another one to make sure that the explosion actually goes off. Speaking of which, an explosion will be denied. And no, that is not going to be the ex-Kairos that kills Volps right there. It is Kino on the angle, taking him down and putting us back into a 3v3. Herds ready for the next challenge, and they very well just ended up taking a player with him. Where's his nade at? It was uncooked, so he had basically infinite time to play into it here. Thankfully, M80 able to save their now down teammate in Kino, leaving it just on KZ, but he's not done with the fight either. All-time push there. They had very well ended the round, but instead, it's going to go back into the hands of M80, who finally claimed one after 4 in a row from their opponents.
Bro, this dying is a ridiculous fucking way every time.
Just wait till you get on defense.
We're just gonna go, dude. We're just gonna fucking go, dude. Young, we're some fucking balls, bro.
Okay.
Well, Kino with the definitive statement there. Yeah, I could just attack him. That's basically what he's saying. I'll translate it for you.
Just go.
Be confident, you know?
Hit up Nike's marketing department. It's like,
Just do it.
just do it.
Just do it, is what Kino says. My boss would be very mad at me if I said what Kino said. But sometimes you're just a little envious of the pro players, right? Just a tiny bit. But they're having fun, man. That's what competition's all about. As for M80, they're looking to bring it back on their offensive side. Finally getting a positive boon. Big round there for round 5, round 6 on the docket. And they're sending it to Kitchen and Cafe, a site that, in my personal opinion, absolutely sucks when it comes to Oregon. And let's see how this went, actually. Kitchen Dining, currently 78% defensive win rate, but only 9 rounds played. As for Meeting Hall and Kitchen, 16 rounds played, and 38% defensive win rate. So you see why teams are starting to trend this way, and that's mostly due to the fact that every team for a very, very long time when it came to site rotation seriously favored playing Meeting Hall and Kitchen over this version of it. So not nearly as many teams routinely practicing trying to assault this site.
So that's the part of the hope, I believe, from W7M is to throw M80 off a little bit. Already prompted a pretty major redraft of their operator lineup, with now the Maru coming into this one. JB92, though, ready for the shutdown against that skeleton key. Knew the breach was coming and lined himself up for the counter. Down goes Spirits, although no confirmation just yet. He does not have the capability to push the window and get the finisher. Just going to pre-fire into it in hopes that someone would have come along to res Spirits by now. So far has not happened. Spirits has had plenty of time to crawl away from the window, so he's actually probably going to get brought back up, even though JV92 does that fantastic job of slapping him down initially.
Be pretty surprised if they let Spirits just bleed out over here. Looks like they're gonna move DS around. I do believe they're getting him right now. Yep. He's getting in position to apply some pressure, and there we go. Spirits back up. Now M80 can try and figure out their assault once again. That soaked up so much time, though. Already halfway through now, just to get Spirits down and back up. Nitro Cell's out for W7M. Not going to do anything to the players upstairs. M80 waiting for W7M's next move.
Well, at the moment, M80 focus a little more on establishing top downs over anything else. This could be what allows them into the site. If I look at a few of these for free. Herds, though, ready to spray back against that. He's got to be careful, as he is being exposed quite quickly. JV92 still in the action here as he fires back with one volley of his own to get revenge for the death of his teammate now. Still going to leave W7M in the winning position as a result of that one, but M80 more than prepared, as you can see. Ubisoft establishing the counter to this freezer rotate. More than prepared for potentially some of the shenanigans to be thrown at them by the defense here. Kino, strike next. They'll find a Volps waiting at the bottom of the kid's hatch, drop in to take site control away as well. W7M, though, to keep the numbers still down and even, and JB92 just gets away with a dash-up light stairs, counters things down. Diaz and Kino both have to unfocus from the plant phase for a moment as they have a player attempting to push their way out. KZ with the big focus on him right now. He'll end up going down, yes, but Kino gets dropped because of JB92's position up on top. 18 seconds to resume the plant, and Diaz has to go for it. He's missed his chance to win it out on the hatch play outright. JB92 is too smart to get baited in by that. Instead, Diaz will go for the corner plant. JB92 hears it. Rolls back out, the stick is in, but he jumps off, tries to go for the kill, but JB92 cannot be beaten. It's another 5-1-1 from our defenders as W7Ms forge their way ahead.
No secrets up the sleeve of W7M there. No money in the pockets either, but plenty of rounds. 5-1 on that half. Yet again for W7M. Looks like you cannot kill their will. Almost a practically perfect half yet again after what we witnessed there on border. Now M80 looking to try and fix some things up. I think W7M did a fantastic job of once again getting ahead of M80, giving them a lot of problems inside of the early round, not really allowing them to get set up. And, you know, as well as even past that, when it came to the basement setups, doing a fantastic job of playing patiently, but keeping W7M at bay, not giving them everything that they wanted, you know, trying to apply the pressure in a bunch of different ways, but not really getting it done was M80, all due to these, you know, very strong positioning from W7M on a lot of their defensive rounds. So we'll see how they can get going on offense. Looks like they want to adopt the Monty into their play. Also, Maverick will come into fruition as well.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse
So as the hop out is
exposed.
just thrusted out by Yaga here. Trying to go a little bit wild as soon as we get the spawns in from W7M. Obviously not really going to be able to grapple much with that, and they read into his rotation back to Classroom. He tries to fire back in with a bit of spray on his own, but misses it. Now down to a sliver of HP from his very aggressive positioning in the early round here. Gomez meeting the same fate. This time, though, he hits a few shots back, bringing KZ down to a very low amount of HP, while he himself only loses about 1/3.
Well, Yaga and KZ, same boat here. But now you can say that about a lot of these members. Fighting back and forth, everyone at each other's necks. No kills to come through, though. Trying to keep that aggro play style fluid for W7M. M80 matching that energy so far. Assisting them out and more than likely help them going into some of these later rounds as these smoke nades can have quite a large effect. But Kino now quite low on that stock as well. No real way for him to supply either. So he's stuck with one going further into the round. And that's two big uses very early here as well. No real damage onto Volps either. So W7M will be very happy with that.
Yaga with the leans here, trying to see if anything will present itself, but not to be found, especially at his HP here. You have to be very tepid with his peeks out into the open here. So just trying to see if he can get lucky. Nothing to be forged. Gomez just denying the play there from the Montaigne as Volps tries to work his way forward. Not going to happen on this round, unfortunately. So first kill finally claimed. Will there be revenge upon that? No, apparently not. Gomez just going off right now, challenging everyone that wants to come at him. And so far winning both of those challenges too, both the Montaigne and now Hertz on the cross goes down. JB92 to push to the inside. He is also countered out pretty much instantaneously. M80 more than ready for the challenge on this defense and immediately putting their foot down with the second round to start the second half.
Well, as we know from Border, John, don't call it a comeback. M80's ready for this. They're built for the mileage.
Bro, most defender-sided map in the entire game.
Oh, they're gonna call the bug, bro. They're gonna call the bug. I didn't do it. Just watch the fucking bug.
Fact.
I mean, he's right, you know, 61% defensive win rate.
True. We are in a tech timeout, by the way, folks, so we'll get clarification on what's going on in just a moment, assuming like a headset bug or something like that, so we'll figure that out in a moment, but either way, W7M still in kind of the leading position right now, but as we mentioned and as the players over on M80's side were alluding to, this is once again a very defensive-sided map, so they are not worried at all about the 1-5 score. I mean, why should be? They just pulled off a 1-5 comeback. So doing it once again is not completely out of the cards here. Although certainly still has set up W7M to have the freedom to make a heck of a lot of mistakes, just like they had back on board.
So a little update on our tech timeout here. It looks like we're having a little inspection of play. Sounds like DS went to knife the shield, John, and potentially might have one-man punched him directly through said shield.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, we didn't see it on camera, so I didn't want to assume anything. But
yeah, might have straight up anime battled him right there. Just one tap and blew him right through the wall behind him. So we'll see what the admin want to do. Once we have that word, we will let all of you at home know. So, but past that, it has been quite an equal affair from both of these teams, but it has been a defensive showcasing for the ages.
it certainly has, as I would bet like 90+% of round wins so far have been entirely defensive-sided for this series. Neither team just able to make their attacks work, and it's a myriad of issues causing those losses too. Sometimes it's just losing too many players in the early rounds, so they can't realistically win like a basement attack with a 3v5, but more often than not, it's just raw chaos inside of those final executes, and as we just saw there, W7M just really not having a winning strategy to try and breach past any part of M80's setup at the end of the day. And that has oftentimes been a bigger one for W7M, as can be referenced to when we look at their entry stats. No problems at all there. JB92, I think him single-handedly is shutting it down in the early round against M80, but the problem is really when they get to that site, that's when the more flashy players from M80 come out and they are not ready for those aggressive swings, and oftentimes are getting shut down by it.
No, definitely not. And it's been really interesting because we go from Border, a map that sits as one of our lowest defensive win rate maps in the entire pool at the current moment at 51%. It's tied up with a couple in the likes of Bank, and I think there's one more. Yes, Villa. Villa only having 6th place this tournament as well, which is pretty interesting. Usually one of our most played maps, but everyone putting that one on the back burner. But yeah, we move on over to Oregon, which is a 61% defensive win rate map, the most defender-sided map that we have in the pool at the moment. So it's just pretty interesting, the fact that we have this exact same playstyle following all the way through. You'd expect Border to be a lot more offensive favored than this being more of the realm where we'd be for the defensive side. But no, both of them straight through defensive wins time and time again for both of these teams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like this is going to take a little bit longer than normal to try and sort out. I think we're probably going to pull the demo and take a look at it on this one. So stick with us. We're going to go to a quick break. We're actually going to catch up with the A stream as well while we are waiting. As soon as we have a result and a decision, we'll be right back with the resummation of this game.
I see another one. The first low approach so far, of course, you gotta go through the motions of roam clearing and respecting your opponents. Koi gonna roam clear from the east over towards the west, open up this office double wall and start making the entry. DC already fallen off this area of the map. They got their stronghold on Drum and Top Dragon, and that's what the first pain point is going to be for Koi to break apart.
Reason why you see bandit bans on some of these maps versus others would be the amount of ways that a bandit can sit totally sheltered and successfully trick, right? There are certain walls and there are certain floors under those walls where you can't really do that much. If a bandit's there, you're kind of doomed. Just as we saw Kanto be a bit doomed. Hops into terrace, contests against Gavin on Drum.
Oh.
Deepak gets it back.
It's a cheeky angle on the rappel.
But still, there was a small advantage. I'm going to put that one down as a trade.
Yeah, good point. Once again, no one gains much from this. It's back and forth. It's been 10 seconds, give or take. No clear advantage. Pampas still has his shield position, Top Dragon, but Drum has now been surrendered by Dark Zeros as Sami was needed to hold that position aggressively. So Koi trading that 1-for-1 in a great way.
Oh, and a run out from Canadian nets a kill onto Deepak. That was the rappel that you saw. Call it a cheeky angle. Hard to contend against somebody who hops out of that kitchen window. Toxic canister goes out. Skies has used all of them with a minute to go. Look at this angle, by the way. Hoo boy. Skies is totally concealed behind that Kiba barrier.
Yeah, he's got the shotgun. Injara engaged with the crossfire as well. He can sit nice and tight here with no toxic babes, just a walking gun.
Leon Gids walks in, takes an NJR. Skies follows to Spoit. Dozen kills for Spoit so far in this contest. Or rather, 20 kills for Spoit so far in this contest. Approaching 24. DZ trail. And now it's Panbazoo taking a bunch of damage. And being finished off by none other than Spoit. Do you believe in Spoit's superiority? Because I'm starting to, Nick. Canadian far back at back stairs. No real information, but that P90 has a lot of bullets in the mag. Quick reload, diffuser going down. Leon Gids successful, but it's Spoit. 3 kills. Business as usual.
It's too easy.
It's too easy.
Sky on letting us play it.
I mean, let's just see if the replay shows it. Sport literally just walks in. It doesn't show it, I don't think. But yeah, Sky's there with the shotgun, SMG-11 in hand, waiting, ready. And Sport just walks in, and it looks so easy. And it's just like that late half, the last 6 rounds or so of Difmark, where Sport walks in somewhere against all the odds, and he just comes and wins out 1, 2, 3 kills back to back. And I mean, when they're operating like this, that's when they're at their strongest, when they can just find openings effortlessly. Normally it's Cryan and Sport working together on one side of the map, while you have Leon Gids, Deepak, and Kento working the opposite side. So they have these 2 squads working at the same time. They did it last round. One squad they roam cleared west over, the other one they open up that geisha wall. So it's Stats or Thermite doing one job, and Injuries doing the other. And it means that they buy so much time on the clock because they're so effective. If you've heard their voice comms on YouTube on their channel that Leon Gids also uploads on Twitter sometimes, you'll hear that they have this way of communicating at the same time because no one's yelling. It's very quiet. Leon will say, hey, Kento, go over here, do this. And then Cryan will go, hey, Sport, get ready. And they've just been working on that for the last 6 or so months, if not longer, and really perfected that craft. On a map like Skyscraper,
All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a result.
Drum roll,
Admins
please.
have pulled the demo, taken a look, and nothing happened.
Hey.
So everything's sticking. We're going right back into the game.
We kept it, North America. We kept our round. Woo!
Like I said, it wasn't caught on camera. Demos, as usual, should be available after a few days.
I mean,
after
we
the
are
game,
the
I'm
US.
assuming. So yeah, if any of you guys want to contest that decision and think it went the other way, feel free to check the demo for yourself. But as far as our admins are concerned, they didn't see anything. So we're going back into it.
John, we're American. We're good at hiding these things. All right. Fantastic, one would say. W7M, though. Going to be looking to pick up some more rounds here. Still well within the right to take this. They had a fantastic defensive side, and not only that, but had a real opportunity. Real shake of the stick there to try and get that last round over on M80. We'll see if this round has anything else to say about that. M80 is going to ascend the floors and try and work this from the top floor. Not going to be for the bomb site, though, as that will be on the mid-level. They're going to be going back to at least one site, I do believe, on this entire map. Yes, indeed, meeting hall and kitchen. 38% defensive win rate.
Let's see if this is going to yield results. Obviously, we lost our stats because of that reset there and us having to check the demo. So just ignore the fact that everybody's on 0-0-0 count. That came with the territory of contesting that last play. All that's important right now is JV92 is basically cleaning up shop in the early rounds. So he's got a pretty positive KD last time I checked there. The rest of the team performing up to snuff as well. KZ earlier on, for instance, in the initial series of the day, had quite the performance himself. Was kind of waiting to see when we'd have a big game out of him, as he was the player being talked about quite a bit last time these guys weren't on LAN. It's going to be no different, I think, for this one, as he's finally bringing that championship potential, at least, level performance to the table. We'll see, though, if it's enough to finally close down things in the second half, or if Kino is going to be correct about that most defender-sided map in the game statement we had before we went to break here. Can they do it twice as they now attempt their second 1-5 comeback just in this series?
W7M will work a cheeky setup for game's window. Doesn't really garner them all that much control, though. Can still see JV92 use that to the fullest extent if he wants to get on the rappel for the angle as well, but it'll be Hurts to strike first as W7M is attempting to deal with Master. Push in here from KZ, playing back and forth, and the Master rotates. Swings in, tags up Gomez, and 80 Cent recoiling now. So try and move back across the top floor. Spirit's going to apply Midas, trying to help with the throwables that'll more than likely descend in upon his location momentarily. Volps has shifted his way up white stairs here too. Gomez knows that, though, after the Banshee will go down. Some series shots onto Volps, and he's still trying to flirt with it. It's going to be JV92 again, though. He's been so strong this entire game. And yet again, W7M with some big plays as they'll be taking down a whole plethora of M80 members.
Down to 2 now for our defense. Things looking solid for W7M to get that 6th round a little bit earlier than they were able to find it back on map number 1, giving them the credit they need to hopefully swing out the rest of this map and get us to a 1-1 scoreline. But do not count the M80 roster out just yet. Don't necessarily count Diaz out of this specific situation. He's already found one with a cross into security. He'll look to see if he can deny more. His position is revealed, but the pre-fire off on a JV92 scores him a 2nd kill now. This is palatable when you consider that the planter is basically one-shottable. No idea where Julio's going to come from. The Nitro out. Does it sing? Yes, it grabs the planter. Case still down on the ground, though, and he's missed the rotation from Julio. He's gone all the way upstairs. Diaz doesn't seem to mind it too much, those sticks on the case, but he hears the play from one top. And Diaz, oh my God! The 1v4 clutch out from him with unlimited time remaining as well. That counter defuse is more than coming in. What a play! As I thought for sure this was W7M's round. Apparently not. Never count the one man out.
A 1v4 for DS Lucas. W7M feeling like, oh, this will be fairly straightforward. Take a couple of gunfights here, maybe get a case down. It'll be easy. They didn't put any respect on this man's name, John. DS Lucas, the 3rd highest rated player here at this tournament. The only 2 higher, Shaiko and Newers. He's in good company for a top 3. DS is a 1.24 rating so far. That's not even considering this series. Amazing from him, keeping M80's hopes alive, but not only that, John, he pulled off such an incredible feat. He made it to where W7M, they're not even on map point anymore. That was their opportunity to make it to where they had to force overtime. M80 still can take this in regulation.
Brought the scoreline that much closer, and as Stokes said, dashed the chances of W7M, has saved an extra opportunity for his team as well. Massive clutch, and to be honest with you, a massive blunder from W7M and how they were managing the 4v1. To be fair, they just gave him 4 detached 1v1s at the end of the day.
John, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And now M80, they're fully feeling themselves. I would be too. Disrespect W7M after something like that, all right? I mean, come on. One of the best Brazilian squads that we've ever had in Rainbow Six, honestly. Just haven't really had the trophies to their name to hoist and be like, we're the best in the region. But M80 definitely making a case for being that much better than them, especially for Diaz. Once again, just an amazing round. I'm still just absolutely blown away that I witnessed that. What a time to be alive for NA. So much talent. Looking to bring it back even farther, though. Still down 2 rounds. Job's not done for NA. Job's not done for M80.
Spirits getting the spot onto that push. Once again, you're seeing the strength of Solus right here. All the intel now being garnered. Even the nature with which they're clearing out the map, he can ascertain that, of course. So all that intel, they know they have the showers rotation going into blue as well. That'll complete the set for W7M over here by White Stairs. Don't need the 3-player stack anymore. Looking moving players outside to start establishing a little bit of big window control here to get in the way of any rotations M80 would like to make on their upstairs position. Herds also set up for more aggressive swings into Cafeteria. Spirits decides to challenge anything, but obviously with the air jab blocking the doorway and him being well aware of that, not going to see that happen anytime soon. And the same pretty much can be said for the next room over, as there's an additional air jab blocking that one too.
Utter gridlock between these 2 teams. Inches separating our first engagement that goes awry. Some smokes down on White Stairs. A hold Herds back for some time. Rest of M80 mostly residing on site. Couple of bodies down in kitchen as well. Gonna have Gomez. Pseudo assist. Not really in the same neighborhood, but relative same zip code. Drones in up top as well for W7M, trying to see if there's any extra info they can garner from a position like this. They're going into the last minute and they're trying to not fly blind. More smokes imbued on top of White Stairs. Still have one here for Kino. He's going to safely cross, just checks it there with the little body peek. Swings his way back through. W7M, they're not feeling it just yet, but finally, Ace to go out, Selma down. It'll break open Attic. It's Yaga on the receiving end, but it's Kino to go down first to Herds. The shot must land for M80. They have to start firing back. Diaz with a big kill. Volps fires back, though. Yogg now, and some big frags for W7M. They've been able to garner enough kills to try and attempt a plant. It's going to be on to Julio. No real opportunity to stop this for M80. They know where the case is, but he's going to be on concrete. Spirits has to rotate all the way around. We just saw 1 versus 4. Do we have a 1 versus 3? No. Immediately nipped in the bud.
That's a little bit too much if we would see that potentially happening here. W7M would need to take a few steps back and really reanalyze themselves. Thankfully, not going to happen this time as it's shut down in the expected manner. Now, W7M have gotten themselves to map point. M80 need 3 rounds in a row to replicate the same amount of success we had back on map number 1 to trigger OT again for that fantastic comeback if they're still going for it. This is where it gets a little bit dire for them. Let's see if W7M can keep their own composure, though, as they have a basement attack coming up here. And actually, they're going to call for a timeout. There was some discussion brewing just before we went off their camera, so let's head back into this one, as we do have that attack break in. We're going to listen in to the comms of M80.
So you guys can choose that, okay? These we're going to do in basement. On waiting. Don't start on there. Start on Peter already, okay? Let's find like more of Pete and kids, you know? Okay? Yeah. That's it. On kids, come back to side. Come back to side. I said that, remember? Come back to side and yeah, reinforce the 2 towers, please. One was open.
Yo, what if we bring some
Bro, we can win that shit. It's defense order, okay? Let's focus and win that shit, bro. Okay? Let's go, bro.
So Chi brought back 6-2 today.
All right, we're back into it, and just in case anyone was wondering, it threw me off a little bit there too. I thought this may have been M80's pause, but it actually was W7M taking that break after they won out the round there. So actually giving M80 a bit of a very much-needed breather here to analyze how they would play things on the upcoming round. I think that's very much what W7M was looking to do here, as well as I think they just want to end it on this round. So the pause was specifically to bring out something special. We'll see what it's going to be, as we have the Capitao and Glaz getting repicked into. So W7M are certainly cooking up something a bit unorthodox here.
They got your favorite Oven play. Aren't you so excited?
I have yet to be convinced. I'm patiently waiting for the round that convinces me, but I have yet to see it yet.
That's the next meme on the social media platforms. John waiting on a successful Glaz round.
Just I've seen like 7 or 8 of them
in your whole life.
Between this event, between this event and like the last 2, and it just doesn't really do it for me. It's just like he just sits there and usually misses like 4 shots and then gets picked by someone. Is usually the way it goes. So
I mean, John, I've probably seen like less than 20, and I casted through the execute meta with Glaz and Ying. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then I don't know what will. So M80 now, though, looking to try and connect some rounds together. Spirits, aggressive front. Positioned so stalwartly. Big issue there. That gunfire, door breaking in front of him. Hard to hear Herds creeping up behind him if he's moving slowly, which obviously was the case. Very well fought from W7M.
Early advantage claimed already here by our attackers as a result of that. Certainly going to hurt M80, but doesn't throw them out of the round yet because they can still rely on the bunker setup on the inside of the site here. And pretty much going to have to now, as it looks like we have everybody returning to the site, just playing this out. W7M with plenty of time now too. M80 won't even really try to lean themselves out to aggressive positions inside of that site. They just have to sit back and kind of wait this one out. So W7M, the map is their oyster. They can do whatever the heck they want over this next minute and a half or so before finally being thrusted into an execute. Plenty of time to analyze how they want to approach this. And with them building specifically into an execute setup, this could have very bad echoing effects onto M80's defense.
Still a lot of smokes to the disposal of W7M as well. This is where Glaz is at his most potent. It is going to be a basement assault, though. Nitrocell in Yogg's hand, as well as Warden and the smokes of Kino, so they can delay here. Yogg's got the glasses on. Nobody stepping up, though. This is the initial one. Still have 3 smokes if you include Volps and KZ, so lots to be done here. It's going to be up to Yaga to try and prevent most of this from the Freezer hallway position.
We are seeing the Glass try to push himself specifically from Freezer. He's very much the solo push that's going to overwatch the plant here from this side in case anyone tries to push directly into Laundry itself with the Laundry players. And of course, pushing back any of the play we might get from the inside of the closet. Yaga, though, more than ready for the challenge from KZ as he tries to go full forward to get the clearance, prevent a flank against him once he takes Overwatch here. JB92 dropping down as well, to change up the team's fate a little bit. Good on the point adjustment from him to take back that freezer control, without which they very much would have lost the round. Now look at these kills flooding in left and right as they take that full control. Gomez left alone here now inside of the 1v2. It's winnable, but unfortunately not when you've got shots like that coming in. JB92 shuts it down. And with that, W7M give us a convincing map number 2 scoreline, snatching it right out of the hands of their opponents as they picked into it, of course. 7-3 is the final scoreline, and this also activates map 3 of the series.
Oxygen able to get 6 rounds in a row on Oregon earlier today, but not in the cards for M80. 7-3 is the score line, and not only that, but the map being M80's as well. Feeling confident working into Oregon, but